AITAH because I really don't care that my dad took his anger at my mom out on my half-siblings. My parents only have me 18 meters together because my mom cheated on my dad when I was younger 1 to 3 and they broke up as soon as my dad found out about it, and he found out because my mom got pregnant with the guy she's married to's baby. My parents weren't married, so the breakup was clean, the custody situation wasn't. Mom wanted primary. Dad wanted shared or primary. Shared was granted and I split time between both houses every 7 days. My mom married the guy she cheated with and they have more kids together. My dad hates my mom and her husband. I don't blame him. He never wanted anything to do with my half-siblings either, and I never blamed him for that either. My mom, her husband and some of my aunts and uncles had issues with my dad wanting nothing to do with my half-siblings and the fact he wouldn't do anything to help them or to make sure they had a good life. They see it as him taking his issues with mom out on them. Some stuff that happened that was talked about around me. When I was 8 and my half-brother was 5, nobody showed up to pick him up from school. I was at the homework club and Dad picked me up afterward. One of the teachers knew me and my half-brother were half-siblings, so she asked my dad about my mom and her husband, and Dad tried calling for her since they couldn't get an answer and nobody answered that time either. My dad took me home and left my half-brother. That was seen as some huge deal. Turns out my mom and her husband went to a funeral and had their phones off, and a friend of my mom's was supposed to pick up my half-brother and forgot. Another time I ended up in hospital and both my parents were there and so were some of my half-siblings. Dad bought me snacks and drinks while we waited and he took me for food after. My mom didn't have money and she kept glaring at Dad for not getting my half-siblings something when they complained they were hungry and thirsty too. That was another thing for mom and my aunts and uncles to complain about. My dad used to throw the best birthday parties for me and my half-siblings were never invited. He gave me the option, but I never wanted to invite them and Dad didn't either, so he wasn't going to push. My mom and her husband fell on hard times. My dad refused to send stuff to my half-siblings. I was going to summer camp and all my extracurriculars still. My half-siblings didn't get to do any of that. My dad knew and my mom asked him for extra help, but he said no. That's when my dad was supposed to have said he didn't give a crap if my half-siblings had nothing because they weren't his kids. My mom, her husband and my aunts and uncles were horrified, and this still bothers them. A few years ago my mom and her husband were in an accident. My mom's friend was with us but had to go, so I called Dad and he picked me up, but my half-siblings were left there. When my aunts and uncles found out, they were calling and texting me and Dad like crazy for Dad to do the right thing and take all of us to the hospital and then take me home with him if he had to. Not sure what ended up going down, but Mom was furious when she learned what happened too, and her husband wasn't happy either. There were other things too. All of it was very much stuff I didn't care about, and I said that to my mom the last time we talked a few months ago. I told my aunts and uncles that too. They said Dad took his anger at Mom out on my half-siblings and that was wrong. So I said again that I didn't care and that they weren't going to turn me against my dad. They brought up if something worse had happened and I said it wasn't my dad's problem. He only has me and he always took care of me. You'd think I told them all that they could go and die with how they reacted. It's why I walked out even though I wasn't 18 yet and I just moved in with Dad. I haven't talked to any of them since, but they text and DM me that I should care and I need to fix myself and stop siding with someone who would happily let my half-siblings rot. The thing about all of this is I don't see Dad's actions or inactions as taking stuff out on my half-siblings. They just weren't his kids or kids he had any duty to, and so he didn't do more for them than he would any other random kid. AITAH?